we're live now, so whenever you want to start, you can just start saying hi.
Hi, I'm Erin Markey. I'm the Creek's Restoration Planner at the City of Santa Barbara. We're out here today at the Upper Las Positas Creek Restoration Project on the city's municipal golf course. This was a restoration project the Creeks Division did back in 2010. So prior to the project, there were some earthen swales that didn't really have a lot of vegetation. They were fairly steep and had some erosion issues. This portion of the watershed is really the upper edge of the Las Positas Creek. The headwaters is what we would call it, Las Positas Creek watershed. It takes a lot of urban runoff from the adjacent communities, so San Markey and we get a lot of street and urban runoff that comes onto the golf course. And prior to the project, that water used to just run through the golf course down to Las Positas Creek, out to Lower Arroyo, and out to the ocean. So untreated urban stormwater runoff. So the project designs were to improve those conditions. It's a multi-benefit project that created a series of natural channels and swales through here, as well as some shallow and very deep detention ponds. So that same stormwater runoff runs onto the golf course, runs through these channels. That water is slowed down, that alone creates a lot of benefits for water quality. The water slows down, sinks into the groundwater. We get treatment that way. We also get the settling of nutrients and sediments out of the water column through these detention basins, as well as some water quality treatment through the thousands of native plants that were planted out here. Our plan today was to drive around and take a look at some of these sites. We have a number of basins total. We can store over 4 million gallons of stormwater runoff out here. The project included 5 acres of native habitat restoration, which provides habitat for a number of native birds and wildlife. We planted 10,000 native plants out here as part of this restoration project. So, we're gonna jump in our golf carts and drive you down a little way so you can see one of the large retention ponds that was installed as part of the project. Once again, this is a Facebook Live event as part of the Creeks Division's Watershed Wednesdays. We're out at the Upper Las Positas Creek Restoration Project. If anybody has questions throughout, please feel free to jump in, put them in the comments. Happy to answer anybody's questions about what we did as part of this project.
Just keep talking.
All right.
And say we've got City TV here.
City TV is here today too with us, filming. So we're on the 16th green here. So our swales not only provide habitat, but they provide cool features for the golf course as well. So this tee actually crosses one of our swales here, provides really nice landscape features out here as well. So we've got a whole thicket of native willows along that channel. And then we're going to cruise around to one of our biggest detention basins out here, which is located by the 17th tee.
Was this all just turf before?
Yes, so the majority of the project site was all just turf before. So we had 5 acres of turf converted to native habitat. So this is the 17th tee.
Do you want to comment on, I know a lot of the golfers thought there was no water on the course, so what was the point of this project?
Yeah, so this golf course sees a lot of runoff when it rains. Golfers might not be out here when it's raining hard to see it, but this basin completely fills and then spills every winter. So here we are. This is our 17th basin. So has the capacity to hold a couple million gallons worth of water. Fills up just about every every year, here we are, what is it, almost August, so it's not at its highest capacity. We've lost some water to evaporation and infiltration through the spring and summer since the last time it rained, but it was completely full, about 4 feet higher earlier this spring with the last rains that we had. So in addition to the capture of that stormwater runoff, the slowing it down, the settling out of sediments and nutrients, the water quality benefits that this provides, it also provides flood control benefits in that we can actually control the level of this basin. So we have a valve over here we can open up. So usually ahead of a big rainstorm, we will actually let some of this treated water out to make space for incoming stormwater runoff. And so that can have benefits for reducing the peak flood flow during a really heavy rain event. And then, as you can see, all the native tules and willows and vegetation here provides excellent habitat for birds. I don't see any waterfowl today, but we often have nesting coots and other waterfowl here every year along the margins of this pond. And then it's also just a really nice landscape feature. This holds perennial water, so it's here for wildlife year-round and supports a lot of the native vegetation that's growing around its edges. So, yeah. So this pond outflows to a culvert that runs under the fairgrounds here, under the freeway, and then right into Las Positas Creek on the other side of the freeway. So it's a natural channel on the other side of the freeway, but then becomes the concrete channel that's right along Las Positas Road. And then from there, inflows into Arroyoboro Creek, right about by Veronica Springs Road is where the confluence is there. And then from there down Lower Arroyoboro and out to the ocean. So the water quality benefits up here that we had seen pre and post project were reduced sediment in the water, reduced nutrients and pollutants due to the slowing down and water quality benefits of the project that was installed up here. So once again, we probably need to keep moving because we've got some golfers teeing off.
They already hit.
They just did? They hit over us? Okay. All right, then we're okay. We'll stand behind the golf cart right here, so we're out of the way. I'm sorry. But so once again, we're at the Las Positas Creek Restoration Project at the Santa Barbara Municipal Golf Course. If anybody has questions about the course, the restoration that was done, we're happy to answer those. As part of the project, we also installed a bunch of nesting boxes. I should have pointed a few of those out, but we have bluebirds that have nested out here, nuthatches, all sorts of birds that are nesting out here every spring. And then all the 10,000 native plants that we installed provide seed that birds and other critters eat. The root systems provide stability of the soil. So previous to the project, the little channels that were out here had a lot of erosion issues. The plants help to reduce that, and they also provide water quality benefits.
When was this completed?
So this project was completed in 2010. It was a big construction project. It took almost a year to complete. It was a little over $2 million, and we secured $1.7 million in grant funding. So the Creeks Division funds really funded the design portion of the project, but we were able to secure grant funds for the construction. So yeah, we're gonna jump in our golf carts and keep cruising. We'll show you the other largest basin that was put in out here over by the 5th tee. The balancing plate. So Again, we're doing these Facebook Live events every Wednesday to try and just keep the community involved in what the Creeks Division is doing. Hope that you've been tuning in. If you have suggestions of other ideas of what you might want to see for Watershed Wednesday, please feel free to message us. So this is the outflow of the fifth pond here. And again, this separate channel, it's basically like a separate tributary of the upper Las Positas Creek watershed, flows out under the fairgrounds, under the freeway, and then connects with the outflow into Las Positas Creek. And we're gonna just cruise around, take a look at the fifth pond. So the basin we were just looking at over on 17 primarily takes runoff from the San Markey neighborhood and Las Positas Road, as well as runoff from the Adams School.
Project on the school?
Yeah, we did a bioswale project on the Adams School as well that connects up with our project. There used to be a basically asphalt swale that we ripped out and made into an earthen natural swale, vegetated with natives as well, and so that outflow then joins up with our swales on the golf course. But over here, this swale starts over by the first tee and takes runoff from the little, I don't know if it's like Hitchcock or what, the neighborhood just to the north of the golf course is where that water comes from. So this is the fifth pond. It has a much higher infiltration rate than 17, so it tends to really soak into groundwater over the course of the spring and summer. Water levels were much higher at the end of the spring this year, but equally provides great habitat for wildlife, a constant perennial water source. It holds water all summer, and native habitat. So we've got manzanita, mugwort, California fuchsia is just starting to flower over here, which hummingbirds love, those red flowers. We usually see a fair number of ducks and coots, herons. There's some red-tailed hawks out here. So it's just a great place for wildlife in the middle of the urban landscape. All right, well, if anybody has any more questions, once again, we're doing our Facebook Live up here at the Las Positas Creek Restoration Project. If nobody has any more questions, I think we'll wrap it up and end it for today.